Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Teachers That Sparkle, the place where you can get that one little nugget of information that can help you sparkle and shine in your classroom each and every day. Of course, we are back here on New Year's Day. So happy New Year, everyone. Some of you are enjoying the final days or hours of your holiday vacation. Some of you are getting into week number 2. No matter where you are, I hope that you had the best holiday season that you possibly could have. I've spoken to so many people over the last year, and I think about half of the people in the world are saying that 2023 was fantastic and their best year ever. And the other half are saying, come on, 2024, let's get started because I'm ready to leave 2023 behind. No matter what, and I shared this earlier on my social media, time is going to move forward, whether we like it or not, right? And I know there are times in my life where I'd like to say, okay, slow down a little bit, or let's just pause for a minute because I'm enjoying the moment. But unfortunately, time keeps going, and we are in a brand new calendar year. Now, I know, thinking like a teacher, for 28 years, I was living my life based on a school year. And so I know many of you tend to do that as well. It was always summertime where I'd sit and reflect on everything that had gone on and redesign all of the things I wanted to move forward on. However, the calendar year is a great time to do that as well. And not that you're throwing away the old, but you're rewriting. You're starting a new chapter. And here we go. Now, for Teachers That Sparkle, I want to start a new chapter as well. I want to continue to come on each week and give you something really great that you can implement easily within your classroom or within your school building, no matter what position you're in public education. But I also want to start bringing in some fantastic teachers that can share their wisdom and their knowledge to help you be even better. One of the big projects I'm working on, I hinted around last year about this, but I'm releasing an anthology, and I'm hoping for the release date to be May 7th of 2024. And it will be stories from people that are in the profession, have persevered through all of the challenging times and continued to make public education a priority, and or retired from the whole profession and still promotes everything about public education. And I'm excited because my own 8th grade language arts teacher is actually writing in the book. And I just read her chapter this weekend, and it's going to be amazing. And here's the great thing. This is what I've learned. I kind of know what I'm doing. I know that that sounds kind of funny, especially after 28 years in the profession, but so many of the things that I would tell my teachers, that I would share with my students, share with my colleagues, she writes about as well. So yeah, it was just kind of a neat little validation. But she's amazing, and I'm excited for you all to get your hands on that book. So I'll be continuing to let you know how the progress goes and when you'll be able to secure one of those copies, because it's going to be amazing. All right, having said all of that, let's get into our topic for this week. And it hit me while I was walking the dog this morning, listening to a podcast. Now, I don't know about you, but I have an intentional start to every one of my days. I've had it that way ever since I was probably a second-year teacher. My first year, that year of my life doesn't even really count because I was just fluttering around and just grasping for straws and trying to survive. But then once I started to get a hang of it and realize that I have the control over my life, I can't control the things that happen to me, but I can control how I respond and how I show up every day. And once I was able to start doing that, it made my life a whole lot easier. It made my life so much more fulfilling, actually. And so one of my intentional pieces of every day is to get up out of bed, I get dressed immediately, and I take the dog for his walk. Now, he's 12 and a half. We just had our 12th New Year's Eve together. that's a long story. I won't even go into that conversation. However, I know he's not always going to be with me, and I don't know if I'll have a dog in the future. However, I know that I will continue to make that part of my day, because what I can do is I can start getting in tune with my thoughts for the day and set my intentions for the day and learn a little something along the way. And so today I wanted to share what I heard on a podcast, and it was not related to education, but it immediately brought me back to sitting in my 8th grade language arts classroom and my teacher, Miss Wickman, who is now Miss Steinberg. This was so profound. And I'm thinking, wow, why have I not shared this with teachers yet? And I know I have indirectly, but I needed to feel like I gave this message directly out to everyone. And it's a great way to start our new year. I want to call it the power of our words. And this week's episode is actually titled, We Believe What We Are Told. And because of that, it can make or break us, right? So I was listening to the podcast and I was hearing the podcast was All In with Allie, in case you want to go listen to it. And she's a business coach, and she was interviewing a doctor who has done some big things in the world and wanted to become a doctor because his mother had cancer. She survived, but he wanted to then make sure he was working in a field that could have that impact that the doctors had on his mom. And he was sharing that when he was a freshman in high school, he was sitting in his language arts class, ironically, and his teacher asked him to stay after class when the bell rang. And so he walked up to her desk and she said, specifically, according to his words, "So what do you plan to do after high school if you graduate?" And I emphasized the word if, and he did as well. And he said he sat there for a minute, and that's the only thing he could think about, is her saying, "if you graduate," rather than "when." And he said something, I can't even remember what he said. And she said, "Well, you're not," oh, he said, "I want to be a doctor." And she said, "Well, my daughter wanted to be a doctor, and she was a straight A student, and she really couldn't even get into medical school. And so it's not going to happen for you. You probably should just know that because you failed this paper." And she handed him his paper with an F. And he remembers that. And it made me think about how our words, especially as teachers, we are regarded in a certain aspect. We've talked about this before, and our words can make or break someone, right? When people think about their school years, they don't necessarily think about what they did on the playground, what they had for lunch. And really, they don't even really think about specifically the skills that they learned. Most people think about the teachers they had, especially, and we've said this before, if they've been really, really good or if they've been connected to something very, very negative in their life. I can tell you about my 6th grade PE coach. I was athletic as a child. I'm still a runner. I'm not fantastic. I don't win, but I go out there and I do the thing because I like it. I enjoy it. I keep my body pretty much in shape. Even at 52, I'm pretty good right now. And I remember going to 6th grade, and I'm a girl, right? So you know what kind of body changes happen when you get into middle school, and they were happening for me. And we had to swim, and I couldn't swim that week because of natural things happening to me. And so I told our little locker room attendant, "I'm not going to be able to dress out for swimming." And she said, "Okay, but you only get 3 times to do that." And I'm thinking, it's September. This is going to happen every month. And, maybe I'm not so regular right now as an 11-year-old, but what if it happens more than 3 times? What's going to happen? And she said to me, "After 3, you're going to get a drop in your grade." And I thought, what? How's that even possible? So we still had to go down to the pool. So I'm sitting there in my clothes, feeling all embarrassed because clearly everyone knows there's something going on and probably has a pretty good idea of what that something is. And it was another girl with me. And so we're just sitting there, you know, all shy and insecure and very concerned about what was going to happen to our grade after 3 more times of this. And the PE teacher came over and he said, you know, if you were strong enough, you'd be in that pool. And I thought, how dare you? Already insecure in my own skin in 6th grade, already worried about missing time in PE and getting a bad grade. And then having the audacity of that teacher to say that to me. I remember exactly what I was wearing, the smell of the chlorine down at the pool. I remember who was sitting on that bench with me. I remember all of the details about that situation. That's my memory of my 6th grade year in PE. I moved schools after 6th grade, and my 7th grade PE teacher was amazing. And I went into high school and I played some sports a little bit, nothing real great and grand, and didn't go off to college to play or anything. But I was planning to be a PE teacher. And for a moment that year in 6th grade, I thought, oh my gosh. And here's the ironic thing. So that happened at the beginning of September. The end of September, I broke my leg and I was in a cast from my toes to my hip for 4 months. And I couldn't do anything in PE. Now, luckily, there was a doctor's note, and luckily, you know, I got my grandparents to go up there and have a fit so that my grade wasn't damaged, and it wasn't. But that's the power of the words. That's how insecure I was about that. So worried about that. And it was PE. Who worries about their PE grade? Your words have power. And as you go into 2024, if you can't take anything with you, I want you to take that thought. Everything about what we do is relationship based. It's about encouragement and motivation and really being able to get kids to be engaged with the learning. But a word can make or break everything about all of that hard work that you do. And if you have to, I want you to think back to your own experiences in school. What ones do you remember the most? Was it because of the way things were said to you? What was said to you? Were they positive? Were they negative? Because again, we're never going to be able to control everything that comes at us every day out in the world of education. You can't control the angry parent. You can't control the state requirements. You can't control your district and campus's policies and procedures. You can't control your partner teacher next door who might be driving you crazy. You can't control the behavior of a student when it's based on something going on in their life, right? But you can control how you respond. All right, guys, have an amazing 2024. Put that on a sticky note. This year will be amazing. Put it somewhere where you can see it every single day. Because I do believe when we remember that we are very, very blessed to be able to shape the minds of our future generation, to be able to have an impact on the world by helping children realize their potential. When we keep that at the forefront and know that you have the power to do that, it makes everything else a whole lot better. All right. I'm Sherry with Teachers That Sparkle, and I will see you next week right here on another amazing episode where, once again, I hope you get just one little piece of information that can help you be amazing in that classroom. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week right back here.